Everyone. Okay.
Yeah,
hello, everyone. Welcome to Ontology at Consensus Distributed webinar. Hope you are all well and are having a great time. This is Christina. I'm the Overseas Community Manager for Ontology. I'll be moderating this series of Ontology webinars. First of all, let me give you a brief introduction about Ontology at Consensus Distributed webinar. This series of webinars are designed to help you gain deeper insights of Ontology's state-of-the-art technology, products, and applications. We will be holding one webinar each day during the Consensus 2020 with our core team experts. They will give introductions and answer questions live on ONT ID, Untitled, SAGA, TAC, and Enterprise Solution. Today, we'll be focusing on our mobile client, Untitled. First, let's welcome our America's ecosystem lead, Erick Pinos, to join us. Hi, Erick.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Great. So, Erick, would you like to start to give a general introduction about Untitled and also on the Untitled staking?
Sure. So my name is Erick Pinos. I run the America's ecosystem for Ontology Network, and I hope you're having a good Consensus Distributed thus far. We've been tuning in to the different events. We had a booth. We were kind of present all around. I'm not sure if there's a day 3. This might be the last day, but it's definitely been a very eventful week with like the halving, and also on the Ontology side, we have some partnerships we've been working on, some Onto updates we've been pushing out. So wanted to give an overview of Onto and the app and what exactly you can do, because it is more than just a typical blockchain wallet app. So we're going to go into some of the details. So first, just the overview of what is Ontology. Always good to start with the foundation. So Ontology is a high performance public blockchain. All of the things that blockchains can do, smart contracts, fungible tokens, non-fungible tokens. But additionally, we also put a focus on identity. And what that means is that we have identity tools and platforms that are built on top of Ontology to help companies deploy identity-based blockchain decentralized products. So things like credit scores, like decentralized credit scores, or decentralized supply chain, decentralized healthcare record management, property record management. All of these things, you need to have an idea of who's behind the addresses that own these assets. So with Ontology's identity platform, ONT ID, you're able to issue certificates, you're able to verify certificates, and you're able to attach these identities to the different addresses, which enable all of these new use cases of blockchain that previously weren't available. So we really focus on that, the identity aspect, and on then the data sharing aspect that's enabled by that. Yeah, we have pretty advanced blockchain infrastructure. Technologically wise, it's pretty, it's rock solid. So it handles 5,000 transactions per second. So it's fast, it's scalable. You can code in it in different languages. So one of the key things that we want is being able to integrate with the existing infrastructure and being accommodating to the existing developer communities and how the existing developer communities tend to work. So right now you can deploy smart contracts on the Ontology blockchain written in Python and C++. So, in the future we're adding as well, you'll also be able to deploy contracts in JavaScript. So this just ties it back to the developer languages that developers already know. You don't have to learn a new language. Which helps us bridge the gap between traditional developers and blockchain developers. The infrastructure itself is very stable, and the blockchain itself is very stable. So there's been no technical failures since the mainnet went live, and we have all of these apps that run on the network, and the transactions that occur on the network, we're able to handle all of them without a problem. Plus, we're able to handle much, much more beyond that. So it's very future-proof in that sense that we don't have to worry down the line about scaling solutions. So we can focus right now on use cases and building out apps and trying to get as many apps as possible, build out these use cases. The virtual machine is pretty fast that we have deployed on the infrastructure. So not only is it a virtual machine that you can code in languages that people would already know, like Python and C++, but also the virtual machine itself is a WASM virtual machine. That's a WebAssembly machine, and that's able to support faster transactions as well. That's more scalable. It's more faster in execution times. So all around the technology is very, very rock solid. With the consensus mechanism that we use, so we use a consensus mechanism called VBFT. So that's verifiable random function Byzantine fault tolerance, which is a lot of words for essentially saying that it's you have nodes, and the nodes, each round a node is selected to participate in the consensus, and each round a random node is participated or selected to participate. And the way that that node is selected is through a VRF, which is a verifiable random function. So by doing the consensus mechanism this way, we're able to get really high transactions per second and really, really quick confirmation time. For the virtual machine, as mentioned, 2-3 times faster than other virtual machines that are used on most public chains. So using a WebAssembly virtual machine is more like kind of how web development is done currently, and is kind of, you know, the standard for creating web applications. So for us, being able to integrate that WASM virtual machine into the Ontology blockchain, so you could deploy projects and run dApps on that virtual machine, gives us these faster execution times and these compiling times, which you can look at you can see the numbers for yourself. The network scalability is pretty high. Like mentioned, the way that the consensus mechanism works allows us to have many, many fast transactions per second, while also retaining security for the network. So this frees up our time. We're able to not worry about scaling solutions. We're able to focus on usability and use cases, which, speaking of which, we're going into them now. The first, or the one that we want to talk about on this call, is for Onto. So Onto is the official wallet app for Ontology. With the Onto app, you can manage people, assets, objects, and affairs all in one. So Onto allows you to manage your digital assets. It lets you connect with other people. You have everything that a typical wallet would have. So connecting your Ontology token, you have the tokens that are built on Ontology, which you can store on the wallet. You have non-fungible tokens as well that are launched on Ontology, and you have stable coins that are launched on Ontology. So that's kind of the main stuff that you would see. You also have access to dApps that are on the network, which through the dApp browser, you're able to go and look at the different dApps, interact with the different dApps directly from it itself, so directly from inside the app. And then lastly, you have the ONT ID. So with the ONT ID built into the Onto app, what that means is that you're able to issue out an identification for yourself, and you're able to store blockchain-based certificates and get these blockchain-based certificates on the app. So, you know, as you're interacting with the Ontology ecosystem, you might pick up a degree somewhere, or a diploma, or, you know, an academic credential. You could save those on the Onto app. If you want to participate in some airdrops where you have to KYC yourself, you're able to verify your identity from within the app, linking your driver's license or your passport through one of our trust anchors. You're able to verify your identity to make yourself eligible for that airdrop. And then you're able to reuse that identity for other services on the Ontology network, because you own that identity. You're in charge of your data, and you own your data. So that identity wallet can also be managed from the app itself, alongside all of your assets and alongside all of your, all of the dApps that you like to interact with. And then also, it's not just for the ONT token and the Ontology chain, but we also have support for the Ethereum network. We have support for the Bitcoin network, the Neo network, and the Clayton network. And I think like maybe a couple others with more on the way. So, it is a multi-token wallet, and it is a multi-chain wallet. So it really is like a home for everything that you do. You don't need to worry about having multiple wallets for multiple different tokens. You can, even with Ethereum, you're able to store Ethereum tokens, Ethereum non-fungible tokens. You're able to interact with Ethereum dApps and go and use the dApp browser and interact with Ethereum dApps. So it really can become a home for everything that all the blockchain related activities that you'd like to do. Going a little more in depth, specifically around the digital identity. So you can safely manage this digital identity because it's stored all on your phone, which puts you in charge of your data. So, you know, the questions like, oh, why would I upload my identity? Why would I upload my driver's license or my passport? You know, you keep the claims on your phone. So when you get these things issued out, when you get these blockchain-based certificates out, it works a little differently than tokens. So if you know how tokens and non-fungible tokens work, you know that if you want to find someone's token balance, you can just look at a block explorer and you can look it up, and then you can see, oh, this person owns this number of tokens, or this address owns this amount of CryptoKitties or whatever. Blockchain certificates work a little differently because blockchain certificates, you have the certificate claim, which is, you know, this school issues this recipient on this day, this degree in this subject, and then, you know, that's like a PDF or it's a Word doc or whatever. And then to sign it, to make it a blockchain certificate, what you do is you sign it with your private key. The issuer signs it with their private key, stores the signature in the file, and then the ID of the certificate is saved on the blockchain. So that's written onto the Ontology chain. But throughout the entire process, you still keep that file. Like, you don't publicly reveal your degree, you don't publicly reveal your information. That's not put onto the chain. The hash of that is what's saved onto the chain. So you have proof that it happened. And so if you show the certificate in the future, you can then go cross-reference that with the blockchain and prove that you didn't tamper with this degree, or you didn't tamper with this certificate. So the positive is that you don't reveal your information. It's not everything is public. It's not all on the chain, so that you can still keep the security, right? You still have, you manage your identity, you have it. The negative is that because it's decentralized, you have to keep track of your certificates, right? If you lose the file and there's no cloud backup, you can't pull the file from the blockchain, because the file isn't stored in the blockchain. It's just a hash that's stored in the blockchain. So what Onto allows you to do is it allows you to store your certificates, and you know, this functionality that in the ONT ID tab, you can save your claims, so that way you're able to keep track of everything, right? And you don't have to worry about I might lose these files. You know, also there's the selectively provide your identity proofs. So you can choose to share the different components of your ID. So this is useful if you have an app that you're using for work versus an app that you're using for social media that you're trying to log into. Your work app might need to know your qualifications or whatever. Say it's like a freelancing platform, they need to know your degrees, your qualifications, whatever. So you can choose to share that information with them using ONT ID, versus like a social media platform that needs to know different things, right? So they don't need to know your income, or they don't need to know your work, right? They just need to know, like, oh, your name, your username, whatever. So maybe if it's a dating site, it needs to know your gender, right? So you can provide that information selectively to the different apps and services that you use, all the while you're still in control of all your data, right? So Onto dApps, or dApps that are built on Ontology, have this ability to tap into ONT ID and ask these questions for their users. So you can create dApps that, for example, are only available to college students, or you can create dApps that access a decentralized credit score, like, say, you know, for DeFi applications that want to use a credit score based system as opposed to a collateralized based system. So this enables like all these new features, and for users, the easiest way for them to access these dApps is through the Onto app, because of the ONT ID functionality that's built into it. Okay, so that's the last slide, and I want to show a demo of the Onto app by switching the sharing screen to my phone. But I don't know if first, do we want to do the Q&A, or do we want to do the demo first?
I think we can do the demo first.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the screen share here. And let's see if this works. I'm going to switch to the screen share.
While Eric is preparing for the Onto demo, if you haven't downloaded our Onto, you can find the download link on onto.app. It's onto.app. It's very easy to download, or you can just find it in your iOS store or Google Play. Okay.
Okay. Can you guys hear me still?
It looks perfectly.
You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, and I can see the Onto interface as well.
Great. This is really cool. I didn't know you could do this until just now, that you can share your, well, until like earlier today when I tried it. But I didn't know you could do this. Yeah, all right. So this is the Onto app. And in the Onto app, you have the three different tabs. So you have ONT ID, you have your assets, and you have your dApps. So the most typical thing that people think of, all right, you have your assets, right? So Ontology, your tokens, you have your ONT, you have your ONG, you have your seed, your MBL, right? Whatever tokens that you have. If there's a token on here that it only shows you the token you have balance of, or you've had balances of previously. If you want to add a token that you don't have a balance of, you could just press the plus icon. You can go to token management, go to my token, and you can search. You can search for different tokens. So these are all the tokens that have been launched on Ontology. And if you have a balance in any of them, or you want to keep track of any of them, you can just add them to your, this is essentially like your favorites list. Additionally, you can also see different collectibles that you own that are on the Ontology chain, and you can see the different stable coins that you own. And at the top, you have this, the short, like you have the summary that shows you like how much all of the tokens together aggregate are worth. You have different send functions. You could send whatever token you want to the amount, and then you set like the, you set like whatever amount you want to send. Then you put the address name. Also, when you send, you could type in the full address, but addresses can get really long, and there's everyone having a different address is very confusing. It's like going back to phone numbers. So we offer two things. We offer one, the QR code scanning, which is the first button here. So with the QR code scanning, you can scan a QR code that someone can show you, but then otherwise you also have an address book feature. So with the address book feature, you can save different addresses and give them shortcuts and give them names. So with the names, you're able to just store your friend's name, store your coworkers' names, whatever, and then you just keep track of everyone's name that's attached to their address. You're able to just send it to them super easily. You also have receive. So that's the second button, receive. You have your address, and it shows you the QR code there, and then you just have someone send you whatever token, whatever Ontology token to that address just by showing them QR code. You can also copy and paste the address and send it to them. Additionally, not only does this work for, see at the top right, if you press the down arrow, not only can you have Ontology-based wallets, but you can also have Ethereum-based wallets, all the different wallets that we mentioned. So if you create a wallet, if you go to all wallets, you can see a summary of all the wallets together. And then if you go to create a wallet, you can see that you can create a, if you create a wallet, you can create a digital identity wallet, which the features will go into. I'm not going to create one because I already have one. But if you go to import wallet, you can see that you have all the different addresses or all the different types of wallets you can create. So digital identity wallets, the Onto token wallet, Bitcoin wallet, Ontology wallet, Ethereum wallet, Neo wallet, Clay wallet. The Onto multi-token wallet, which is the second one, that's the coolest because that one creates a wallet for you that stores each of the other 5 types of tokens on the different blockchains and all of the associated tokens that can be launched on those blockchains. So that way you only have to worry about one wallet. Instead of having 5 different wallets on your phone with your 5 different private keys, your 5 different, with the 5 different private keys that you got to keep track of, you can have a multi-token wallet, and you give it one wallet name, you give it a wallet password, give it a, confirm the password. It'll give you the you'll get the mnemonic phrase, you can save the mnemonic phrase, and you'll be able to have all of the tokens there. And you can see that if I were to, for example, go to my Ethereum wallet, then you can see the Ethereum tokens, you can see the Ethereum collectibles, and you can see the Ethereum stablecoins. So the stablecoins are also available there. The Ethereum-based stablecoins like DAI, USDC, USDT, Gemini Dollar, those are all available as well. So that pretty much covers it for the assets. If you click on a different token, whatever token you click on, you can send. At the bottom left, you see send. At the right, you see receive. So you can click on send. And just like you had it before, you can type in the amount and select the address. So that's for the assets page. The next normal page, or the next typical page, is the ID page. So this ID page, you have your ONT ID, right? You have your ONT score, which is just different. It's just points that you can earn for completing different tasks within the ONT app, kind of like a tutorial to take you through the steps of, interacting with all the features, getting everything up and ready. You have different authentications you can add. You have different social authentications you can add. So these are different things that help verify your profile socially and verify your profile so that you can interact with some of the dApps that require you to verify your identity. So for example, like airdrops or like exclusive social networks or dApp social networks that require you to be of a specific, to have gone to be an alumni of a specific school, or to make sure that you're only one. What's a good way to verify that if you're doing an airdrop and you want to make sure that it's one airdrop per person, someone could generate hundreds of fake addresses and just spam claim those airdrops. So it's good to have them link their address to Facebook, for example, or Twitter. So that way you kind of verify that this person is only claiming this airdrop once. So it's pretty useful for doing things like that. You have different ONT ID applications that you can interact with at the bottom, as you can see. And you can manage your ONT ID. You can see that right here. I only have one ONT ID right now, but if I wanted to, I could create another one, and I would just give it a different name. I would give it the password, and then I could choose to link it with different aspects about myself. So like say this first one, I want to do the Facebook verification and just only that one. I only want to do the Facebook verification. But then for the second one, I want to link my LinkedIn. I want to link to my GitHub. So that way that could be like my more professional one. And that's the ID that I choose to share with employers, right? So helpful for compartmentalizing and managing your identity. The last one, or the last tab, is the dApp tab. So the dApps, these are all the dApps that are available. And so you can see the different dApps, you can interact with the different dApps. We have exchanges, we have games, we have different dApps that you can earn ONT and earn ONT tokens. But not only, as mentioned, we have the Ontology-based dApps, but we also have Ethereum-based dApps. So if you go to the search button, you can actually go to any dApp that exists by selecting, first you select the chain. So you select like ONT or ETH. So if I go to like ETH, for example, and say like a dApp isn't, just because it's not listed like here, doesn't mean that you can't go to it. Because if I go to search and I go to like ETH, if you know the address, like say, for example, like Compound Finance, which is a popular Ethereum dApp where it's a popular Ethereum DeFi dApp. You can type in Compound Finance, click on your wallet, and then see you're on Compound Finance, and you just go through their process. So wherever is like here, app, and it's linked to your, it's automatically linked to your Ethereum address that you're accessing from Onto. See, like it shows me my wallet, it shows I have the 0.084 ETH. So you're able to interact with any Ethereum-based dApp any Ethereum-based dApp that would work on Trust Wallet or MetaMask, because we use the same like Web3 browser. So any dApp like that would work. it depends on the dApp and like what functionality they built in, what compatibility they built in, but Onto pretty much acts as a pretty standard ETH browser. But then also on top of that, right, we have the ONT browser as well, so you can interact with all of the Ontology-based dApps. The last thing that I want to show is how to stake from directly within Onto. So Onto has a new ability that lets you stake directly from Onto. Previously, you had to use the desktop wallet, which for some people was difficult because then you have to maintain your mobile wallet and your desktop wallet. So the way that you stake from within Onto, you go to your ONT wallet, you click on ONT, and at the bottom left, you can see it says stake. So if I press stake at the bottom left, it shows me how much ONT I have staked thus far. It shows me how much staking rewards I've earned thus far, how much gas rewards I've earned thus far. Right? It shows me my address, and it shows me recommended stake node. So here I select the node that I want to stake with, and you can see the different nodes. You see some information about the different nodes. You see how much the fee distribution that they're providing versus the amount that they're keeping for themselves. So, you know, that's something that could factor into your decision making. The different nodes run by different organizations, run by different community groups. So you can choose to run with different nodes to support different projects, to support different ontology developer communities, or you can try to, or you can go for profit maximization, right? So like whichever you prefer, because some of these, I mean, some of the nodes, right, they take lower fees, or they take more fees because they use the fees to support their organization. So for example, Venezuela blockchain, which, you know, if you stake with Venezuela blockchain, then the portion of the fees that they keep is going to support the Venezuelans that are, you know, their education programs for Venezuela to learn more about blockchain. So, you know, it's not just a profit maximization, but it's also like, which of these nodes do you want to support and which of these nodes do you want to help grow? So once you pick a node and you're ready to like stake with that particular node, so you have that node and then you click on stake amount. The example that I picked right now is movie block. So another thing you want to know about the nodes is, are they doing any specials or any promotions? So the nodes can be kind of unique. The Sesame Seed node, if you choose to stake with the Sesame Seed node, they give you the rewards in seed tokens instead of gas tokens. And so the seed token is worth slightly more than the gas token because it's backed by both Ontology gas, and it's also backed by Tron. So seed is a multi-chain token. So if you want to stake with the seed, you know, so you can think like, oh, I want to stake with Sesame Seed, the Sesame Seed Ontology node, because my rewards are going to be greater. Movie Block is another example. Is they're doing a promotion where they're airdropping Movie Block tokens to anyone that stakes with the Movie Block node. So if I stake right now with Movie Block, not only do I earn the gas tokens, but I also earn Movie Block tokens. So all of these things are things that you want to look up when deciding which node you want to stake with. Then I select the stake amount that I want, and because staking is done in integers of 500 ONT, so if I select like 1, if I type in 1, then I'm really staking 500. If I type in 2, I'm staking 1,000. I can't stake 1.5. I can't stake 750 ONT or 500 or 520 ONT or 600 ONT or 2 ONT or 1 ONT. It has to be in intervals of 5. The exception being the Sesame Seed node, because on the Sesame Seed node, you can stake any amount. You can stake as little as 1 ONT, right? So that helps. That's another thing to consider when making these decisions. These are all benefits that different nodes provide. But pretty much the standard is 500 ONT minimum and integers of 500. So if I say 1, I'm going to say 500. If I click on stake now, you confirm the staking, the stake address, the stake node, the fee, whatever. You go through it, you put in your password, and then everything gets confirmed. And then you can go and you can see your stake when you click on my stake. And here you see my stake, you see the stake that you've staked and the different steps of the process. So it can the status of your stake can either be processing, which right now I don't have any processing. You could have it be staked, or you could have it, like if you choose to cancel it, you can have it be canceled and be returned to you. Which, since I don't have anything canceled right now, then nothing is showing up there. And if you don't know, like if you don't fully understand what these things mean, you can just go to info, and under info you can see like more information about them. Oh, and the last thing, so when you earn the stake, it doesn't get sent directly to your wallet, it gets accrued. So you do have to go in and claim it. So when you go to the main page, right, like, we're going to stake, here's the staking interface. When you go to the bottom left, you click on claim. Here's how much rewards I've earned thus far, and I can choose to claim them. So I would have to put in my password, go to the next page, confirm, and then I get the rewards. So that's an important thing to keep in mind, that it doesn't just automatically accrue. You actually have to go in and claim it. Yeah, so that's important. That pretty much covers it. There's a lot of different things. There's also a settings page, where the settings page, you could change the color, right? If you prefer, you can have it in black, which, I prefer. I don't know which one I prefer, actually, because I like dark screen on most of my apps, but I feel like there's the white is iconic for Ontology's theme, so I like it. But yeah, you could change the language too. So if you are a native speaker of a different language and prefer to have it there, you can change that as well. So definitely a very good app with a lot of compatibility, right? You see the profile that you have, but also, as mentioned, the address book, where you have everyone else's addresses. You can store other people's addresses and give them nicknames so that it's easier to remember and easier to send it around. The notification center, the settings. A help center is important, because here you have like you have FAQs and guides to help you understand more about how it works. We're really trying to bridge the gap, the knowledge gap, and help educate people so that they know how to keep their tokens safe, to understand how blockchain works. And then we also have like About Us that tells you a bit more about us. But that's pretty much it. There's more features coming and stuff upcoming over the next couple of months, but we also are always open to feedback and any questions or concerns that people have, suggestions. This is very much a demand-driven project, where we integrate the tech that's based off of what people have requested the most. So thank you.
Thank you, Erick. Great demo, very informative and educational. Just to quickly summarize Erick's demo, on our Onto, it supports multiple tokens. You can earn passive income via node staking, and it also supports a rich collection of DApps. I have also shared a link for everything you need to know about the ONT ID digital identity wallet and our staking 101 on the comment area of this live stream. So if you still have any questions, you can have a look at those links. Okay, shall we move on to the Q&A session?
Yeah, I think so.
Let's see what questions we've got. Erick, can you share the screen for Q&A, the presentation? Thank you.
Yes. Yes, but it will be on my phone, if that's all right.
Okay. Okay, so now let's take a look at the questions we got. The first one is, the size of DeFi assets and the overall number of users are constantly growing. Does Onto have relevant designs in this aspect?
Do we have a relevant what in that aspect?
Relevant designs. Do you want me to repeat the question?
Yeah, could you repeat the question? I don't fully understand the relevant designs and growth.
It says the size of DeFi assets and the overall number of users are constantly growing. Does Onto have relevant designs in this aspect, like DeFi applications related? It's more for
well, Onto, yeah, DeFi is an area that Ontology has been a part of and exploring. So we have, for example, like the PAX stablecoin, we have exchanges that are built on Ontology. We have a DeFi exchange built by Sesame Seed. So, we go into DEXs and we go into DeFi. That's definitely something we pay attention to. On the Onto app, you can also access Ethereum DeFi projects as well. So you're able to manage, you're able to connect to the DeFi world entirely from Onto.
Okay, great. And the next one is, what is the difference between Onto and other cryptocurrency wallets? What makes Onto special?
So what makes Onto special is, well, I mean, one, like mentioned, the multi-token wallet. So most wallets, you only support their own token or the token that they're trying to push, whether it's Ethereum or whatever blockchain. So having a multi-token wallet enables you to not have to choose, right? You could use Onto and still interact with, say, only Ethereum. So that's helpful. And then also the ID aspects that we mentioned. So when you're using Onto, you're able to access all of these decentralized identity functionality that previously you wouldn't be able to. So it becomes very useful for that.
Mm-hmm. Good point. Let's move on to the next one. What is the relationship between Onto and Ontology? What is the meaning of Onto to Ontology?
So the relationship, well, Onto is Ontology's official wallet. So it's the wallet that we recommend because it's the wallet that's built by Ontology developers. So we can assure that it's secure and that it's safe, right? There's a lot of scams that are happening, especially when you run into, there's a lot of scams that are executed through third-party wallets, through unofficial wallets, because you don't know who the developers are or they're not as transparent. So, through Onto, if you use Onto, you know that it's coming from the Ontology Foundation, and therefore it's built by the Ontology developers, right? So it's something that we recommend. It's something that we recommend to be safe. So it's definitely a very important project. We work on the chain itself. We work on other use cases that are built on the project, but the official wallet and having an official wallet helps a lot. It was very important for us to maintain as a priority project that we develop.
Fantastic. So the next question is, since we talk about what people can do with Onto, and Onto has been keep updating its application, what's the future plan for Onto?
So in the future, there's going to be more ONT ID related applications. So more dApps that plug into your ONT ID, as mentioned, like freelance platforms where you can use ONT ID to verify work qualifications, right? These are all like academic institutions that are issuing out ONT ID based blockchain certificates for completing courses. These are all things that organizations that we're talking to, that we're partnering with, that we're deploying use cases with, that people will be able to use their ONT ID to access, all from within the Onto app. So you can look forward to more, aside from typical UI improvements. There's always going to be UI improvements. There's always going to be extra functionality. But I think one area where there's going to be a lot of explosive innovation and additions is going to be in the ID department. So adding more things that you can do with your ONT ID.
Interestingly, the next question is about ONT ID. So as Ontology is focusing on the digital identity, what unique value does ONT ID bring to Onto?
So yeah, having an ONT ID makes it very different from most wallets, because you can use identity-based applications, or you can, as a dApp developer, you can access identity-based features. So you're able to verify, for example, if you're doing an airdrop, you're able to verify that each address is tied to a unique person, verified by social, right? Or verified by driver's license or by whatever, right? You're able to check for people's qualifications, people's work credentials. If you're running a freelancing platform, you're trying to hire, or you're doing a social network that's only for like alumni of a certain school. If you're doing like advertising, you're able to target the advertisement for your dApp to users that choose to opt in and share their ONT ID, right? And share these profiles about themselves, show these characteristics about themselves. So having ONT ID in general creates all these new opportunities for people, but you have to be able to, you need to access it through a gateway, right? So there's multiple gateways for ONT ID. There's some that are, on desktop, there's Cyano Wallet, which you can also use to create and manage your ONT ID. But for mobile, the best way to interact with ONT ID is through the through the Onto app.
Okay, thank you, Eric. The last question is about our dual token models. So what is the purpose of ONT token? As we know, ONT is your main token. Why do you release ONG? What's the benefit of it?
So the main reason that we released another token, so Ontology is a dual token model. So the idea is to separate the staking and the governance from the transactions. So the gas or the ONT, there's only, right, the ONT, there's 1 million, I think there's 1 million, I'm not sure, but there's a cap, there's a hard limit onto how much ONT will exist. And that you own ONT, you stake with your ONT. You stake on the nodes to keep the network alive, right, to keep the network running and decentralized. Now there's a second token, the Ontology gas token. So rather than making it all the same token, the point of the gas token is that this gas token is what's used to power the network. These are the gas tokens are the ones that make the transactions. You pay gas fees to execute transactions on the network. And the staking token earns the gas token. So by having this stake and committing to this stake, you're saying that like, okay, I'm this, you know, I want to stake this much, and this amount of that I stake is going to generate this much gas, which I can then use to make the transactions on the network. So you're kind of separating the economic effects of staking, and you have this whole staking ecosystem, or you have this, we have one ecosystem where you have the staking portion of it, which is kind of isolated to kind of help kind of grow that aspect, and you also have the gas side, which that gas, by having a separate gas token, you can kind of isolate the effects of the value of the gas token, and that you're using the gas token to pay for these fees, right? So it's more of like an economic decision, and you can look up like the papers that we've written and the posts that we've made about the dual token structure. But you know, like everything else, there's no necessarily right or wrong answer. I think the approach that we wanted to take is more about wanting to isolate the effects and the effects of gas fees, because we don't want, for example, a lot of people to start staking and then the gas price increasing because of the token value going up. So by separating the two, if the value of ONT goes up and there's a surge in interest in staking, it won't make it more expensive to run these transactions, because of the gas fee, or the price of the gas token would stay relatively the same. Now in the real world, right, the values of both tokens kind of rise up and rise down together. But for the most part, there is, by keeping them isolated that way, by having two separate tokens, yeah, we're able to compartmentalize the effects of both and kind of create this a healthier ecosystem, rather than like a one token being used for everything and it's being affected by traders, by speculators, by shorters, by network activity, and then, you know, it messes with the different audiences. So it's really it was like a decision to compartmentalize it that way.
Great. Thank you very much, Eric.
Thank you.
So I think that pretty much covers our Q&A session for today. If you have any further questions, feel free to join our Telegram or leave a message on our Twitter and other social media channels. So tomorrow we will be focusing on a different topic, which will be SAGA and the Ontology marketplace platform. And it will be the same time tomorrow. So do join us. Thank you very much for today.
Thank you, appreciate it.